Hello DIYers. It's been a while since I've posted a video. You'll see some of those other videos that I've done, but there's things that I get passionate about when it comes to doing DIY projects, and sometimes I need to stop and make a video to celebrate those things that have a really outstanding result. Sorry if you hear a little bit of wind, but I'm outside, and what all the rage is right now is, especially as we're coming to the Christmas holidays, is these built-in house lights, whether it be Jellyfish or Gemstone or Govee or ASAHOM. There's a lot of stuff out there on the market, and if you're looking at getting a professional to install them for you, Jellyfish, Gemstone, etc., strap on the checkbook because it's crazy expensive. But why do people do it? One, they don't want to do the work themselves, and two, because wires look like crap. So when it comes to the DIY options that are out there, Govee's very popular, and there's other brands out there as you start looking on Amazon and other websites. But I discovered ASAHOM. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about ASAHOM because there's lots of videos out there for you guys to look at, and you should definitely look at the videos because they give a lot of good instruction, best practices for not only installing it, but running the software. It's, for the most part, it's pretty DIY friendly as opposed to going something with like the open source WLED software. I'm not even going to bother learning that. That's for other people. But I wanted to be able to install my own lighting, and I, again, went with this ASAHOM brand. Again, find it on Amazon. I did a total of 500 feet on my house. And so I ordered two 200-foot kits and one 100-foot kit. I did it in the black. And the reason I did it in black is because I got something from a company called Snaptrack. MySnaptrack.com, and they have filled a really serious void in the DIY Christmas light or permanent year-round light market, and that is a way to make your install look professional, protected, and just really crisp. And you'll see what that looks like here in a minute. But first I want to talk about some basic stuff. Don't forget Snaptrack.com. I did the ASAHOM, and when you go to Snaptrack's website, you want to, there's two different models that they make for their Snaptracks, and one of them is for what they call Govee Original Non-Pro, version 1, version 2, and Elite. That's the option I chose because it is equally friendly to the ASAHOM. The ASAHOM and those basic Govees are the exact same form factor as far as the spacing between light segments and the size of the puck that clips into the track. They're identical to the Govee. Again, you should probably look at ASAHOM because it's more advanced than the Govee right now. It's RGBCW. Google that or watch the other videos. It'll all make sense. That's why I went with it. So the other option that MySnaptrack.com does is the Govee Pro track. That is a wider spacing or tighter spacing. I forget, but the holes are what are so important in the different tracks. The spacing between these holes is 16 inches. So you got 8 inches to the edge of a hole, 16 inches, 8 inches. You start putting tracks together, 16-inch spacing, right? So let's talk about the tracks because that's the star of the show. Tracks are more expensive than the lights, but not much more. And the bang for buck that you get from an install finished look, you'd be insane to have those ugly wires hanging on the side of your house like the clampets. Don't do it. So all you have to do, and by the way, MySnaptrack.com, they come in kits of 50 foot, 100 foot, 150 foot, all the way up to 600 foot packs. Just get the distance that you need. In my case, it's a big project, 500 feet, and we'll show you that later. But They also come in some basic colors. I went with black. Black is pretty friendly. There's white, there's brown, there's like a gray, and a beige. And then they even have a service for custom coding the paint color. You'll see that on their website. Take a look. So all you have to do to install these tracks is you've got a bottom track, and that's what mounts to the side of the house. It's just going to click up against your soffit or your eave or whatever it is that you're installing these lights against. And then you've got a top track, and your light segments will, these pucks will just click in like so, and literally that's all you're gonna see. That tiny little LED bulb is all that gets seen. Click in your lights, click the tracks into the mounted bottom track, and that's your finished track. It is so clean. Make sure to watch my Snaptrack's videos too on installation, but some key things to point out is you're going to use snips to do most of your cuts, to cut the size, to cut angles for the peaks and things of that nature. I used 1/2-inch sharp point lathe screws. They're metal and wood friendly. They're 1/2 inch long. Use that. It's 2 screws per bottom track. Very easy. You get that at the hardware store. Just a regular cordless drill to get the screws in. You might see a piece of wood here. The reason for the piece of wood is because you want these tracks to be somewhere between 3 and 4 inches off of your wall surface so that you get the right sconce look, or like a scalloped look of the light, and you'll see that when I show you the nighttime views. But 3 to 4 inches, in my case, I did a piece of 1x4, and of course we all know that that means it's 3.5 inches wide. Between 3 and 4, 3.5 inches. I use that as my shim or my spacer for installing against the wall and getting that 3.5 inch offset. So without further ado, the other thing I'll point out, you see a helmet in here. If you've got a wife or people that love you, just put on a helmet, because I was going 30 feet almost up a ladder, and you should take safety into consideration. I also had a tool belt to put my screws in, as well as my drill. Just keep those things in mind as you start working on your project. I'm going to have Jonathan turn around in a minute, and he's going to show you. I've got an A-frame house, and he's going to show you one of the pitches and what this finished look looks like, and you'll see why this is the only solution for a DIYer when it comes to your outdoor permanent lights. And then after the pause, I'm going to show you the daytime finished product of the entire house, and then I'll show you the nighttime. Thanks again. Okay, let's show you what it looks like in the daylight. I know most of these permanent install lights are all about the night show. I'll show you what that looks like also, but this is about the Snaptrack. So I want you to see how good it looks in the daytime, because in the daytime, again, who wants to see ugly wires? So we're gonna start with the front of the house, which is a double A-frame that has kind of a pool house on the end. And then there is a barn that is also my office for another segment of the lighting. Altogether, we're just short of 500 feet. So let's take a look. So front door, you can see the first A-frame pitch. And we did it on the lower and the uppers, and I used the ASAHOM extension cables that come with it to be able to pass from the lower section to the upper section. So again, really take advantage of understanding the ASAHOM installation and the different lengths of wire segments and the extensions, and you're gonna have a better result. So another profile. You'll see proof of the work because of the ladders, but exact same as the last one. Okay. And then we get into the pool house extension. And it just runs down the soffit. We're going to turn into some sunlight, so we'll spin around the camera here in a second. But again, you see how it goes up and down the pitch. One thing to point out, I'll be doing these cleanups here in a little bit with a little bit of black caulk to make sure everything's nice and tidy. I might even paint that little bit of wire red. Following down. We're going to watch our step as we go down here. And you can see on the barn house, this is a 50-foot run. So again, we're really fortunate here because it's black on black. It really disappears. 50-foot run then with the pitches over here. Take note how bright it is outside, and you can see those lights. These are like 70 lumens per light fixture.
You are currently being recorded.
Ring is talking to us, but we're going to continue down the barn side. Again, very clean lines. Don't forget to get that spacing 3.5 inches or so off the wall so that you get the scalloping on the lights. And when you see it at nighttime, it'll make all the sense. And then finally, the other A-frame pitch. And one thing to note, there is a little upper peak on this corner over here, and we did get that as well. That's it. So the final thing, follow the instructions, measure twice, cut once, and enjoy the project. I hope it works well for you and that you get this kind of result. As promised, here is the final product. And just so you know, I've got one of the preset themes called Halloween Sea selected. So you'll see a slow kind of dancing of the lights. And I'm just going to walk around the perimeter. So here we go. Sorry, it's going to be a little bouncy as we walk around. Fall time, so hear me crunching the leaves. You can see that there's the little upper peak up there. You can sort of see down into the pool barn. Back side of the house onto the barn, which I've set to a different color scheme just for some variety. But you can really get a feel. Now that is against black paint, so the scallops are less pronounced. Until I zoom in, then you can really see. And you can really see the scalloping of the lighting because we're 3.5 inches off the wall. And I'll continue on. Just carefully walking through.
Hi, you are currently being recorded.
Okay, we're just about there. We'll finish where we can see the house and the side of the barn again. There you go. And if we cut through, you'll see where the barn and the pool separate from the main house. There we go. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys are inspired to go out there and do the work yourself.